guys, welcome back to my channel. I just had a planned C-section with baby number 2. Baby number 1, I ended up in an emergency C-section, and I wanted to do a video comparing the planned C-section experience to the emergency C-section experience, because ultimately my planned C-section was so much better and I wanted to share the reasons why. So let's get started. First off, I did not want to do a planned C-section for my second baby. My entire game plan was to do a VBAC, but when I went past my due date, my doctor basically gave me 2 options, and one of the options was a planned C-section. So although I wasn't excited about it, I thought it was the better of the 2 options. And leading up to the planned C-section, I wrote in the local Facebook moms group asking if anyone had experience with planned C-sections and what their thoughts were, planned versus emergency C-section. And I was super reassured because about 5 moms in the group commented and said, you know, you're fine. The planned C-section was a breeze compared to the emergency C-section, so that really put me at ease, but I didn't necessarily know the reasons why that was. Firstly, the fact that it is planned, you can really plan ahead as far as prepping yourself, getting your bag ready, arranging for childcare if you do have another child, getting work off, having your spouse get work off. The planned part of it just really does make things a whole lot easier than not knowing when you're going to go into birth and rush to the hospital. The second difference is that you will hopefully be completely refreshed for your planned C-section. I took a sleeping pill the night before just because I was nervous about it, but overall, you know, I was driving to the hospital with a full night's sleep. Whereas with my emergency C-section, I was up from 3 a.m. to 3 p.m. laboring and then finally ended up in an emergency C-section. So I had gone, 12 hours without sleeping, plus I was exhausted from being in labor, and then having to go into the emergency C-section was just really hard on my body, mentally and physically. Going in refreshed was definitely a game changer. With my planned C-section, there were less drugs involved than in my emergency C-section, because in my emergency C-section, I had already gotten an epidural, and then they had to start the process of the drugs administered for a regular C-section. So overall, I just felt like I was less out of it during the C-section and after the C-section, and I was able to get off even the Tylenol and ibuprofen painkillers a lot sooner than I was with my emergency C-section. I had asked my doctor what the differences in her mind were between a planned and emergency C-section, and I definitely think what she said was true. She told me that they have a lot more time to go in an emergency C-section. It's very rushed. Their number one priority is to make sure you survive and the baby survives and everyone's okay. So they're trying to get that baby out as quickly as possible. Where the planned one, they can really take their time. They get you set up on the IVs, they get the catheter in, they get the drugs, they test you to make sure you're completely numb, and they're really able to take their time with the procedure, whereas the emergency, it's a rush to get the baby out. And what this leads to, I believe, is an easier recovery time. I had a lot less pain after my planned C-section than I did with my emergency C-section, and like I said, I was not nearly as out of it with my planned C-section. And even coming home, I was just mentally in a lot better place, and we did also stay one less night at the doctor with my planned C-section. Lastly, if you go into labor and then end up in an emergency C-section, your body is recovering from the labor and the C-section, whereas with the planned C-section, you're just recovering from the C-section. And what I mean is just the hormones from labor the exhaustion from labor, any drugs that were used during labor, it just doubles up with that of the C-section. Whereas the C-section, you're just dealing with the recovery mentally and physically from the C-section, and I noticed a big difference between the two. If you have any questions about a planned C-section coming up, definitely leave them in the comments below. I'll be doing a postpartum videos, and I do have a full story on my planned C-section experience, which I will share in the link and also slide over in the cards. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.